In this video, we'll be looking at how we can find the surface area and volume of a prism. A prism being kind of like just a simple box. If you think of like a shoe box, that is a rectangular prism. So we're going to be looking at finding the surface area and the volume of these prisms. And right now, what I need you to do is get these materials so that we can do this. So you'll need 2 pieces of line paper. 1, 2. You'll need 1 prism worksheet. You want to get the net triangular prism worksheet. That's one we'll be looking at together. You'll need 1 pair of scissors. You'll need some colored pencils, a ruler, a regular pencil or writing utensil, and some tape. Now the scissors and the tape you'll have to share with your group, as I don't have enough for everyone. So share the tape dispenser, share the scissors. So first thing we're going to do is on our 2 pieces of line paper, on both pieces of paper we'll put our heading. So we're going to put our heading twice. And on one we will put, the title will be Prism Notes, and on the other will be Prism Assignment. One will be Prism Notes and one will be Prism Assignment. So pause at any time where you need to catch up, and then just unpause and we'll move forward. Okay, so we're going to begin with our notes. So we'll put the Prism assignment page to the side for now. And on our notes, the first thing we'll be looking at is surface area. Now the first thing we will do, step 1, label each side, label each shape with a number. So how we'll do that, label each shape with a number. So we'll take our Prism worksheet that we have right here. I'm going to label each one of these shapes with a number. There's a small one in the bottom in the corner, so that's number 1, number 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we've labeled each shape with a number. This will help us keep organized and keep track of which shape we're working on. Step 2, measure in centimeters. So we're going to be doing all our measurement in centimeters. For each rectangle or square, measure length and width, and then for each triangle measure base and height. So how we'll do that is, let me give you a chance to catch up writing. You can pause right here to catch up and write, and then unpause when you're ready to move forward. So how we will measure is we'll take our prism, and for each rectangle, so there's 3 rectangles, I'm going to measure the length and the height in centimeters. So I'll line up my 0. That's this first mark right here on my ruler, and then we'll measure, and it looks like I have 4.3. So we'll say that this side is 4. Alright, let's put it on the inside. 4.3 centimeters. And then I'll measure across the bottom of my rectangle. And that looks to be about 6.6. So we'll measure that at 6.6 centimeters. And now we'll do the same thing with a triangle, but for a triangle we need a base and a height. So I'll measure the base of my triangle, which is about 3.7 centimeters. And the height is just coming straight down from the top, so I'm going to measure the height like that. And we'll measure the height of the triangle, which looks to be about 3.7 centimeters as well. So now what I'd like you to do is pause right here and measure the length and width for each rectangle, and then measure the base and the height for this other rectangle. So pause right here and get those measurements. Now that we have the measurements of our prism, we can move on to our next step. So back to our notes. Step 3 will be find the area of each shape. So we're going to end up finding 5 areas total. So here's a review for rectangles. Area of a rectangle is equal to our length times our width. And for triangles, the area of a triangle is equal to base times height divided by 2. So we're going to find the area of each of these shapes. So again, pause right here so you can catch up writing, and then we'll move forward. Okay, so now we're going to go to our assignment to do this. So pull that second sheet of line paper that has the assignment on it. And the first thing we are doing is finding surface area. So we'll do surface area. And the best way to do this is to label it so that we're finding the area of each side. So we'll do side 1. And that's why we labeled the sides to begin with, because now I can look at my side 1 right here, and I see that my length and my width, 6.6 times 4.3. So I can find the area of my side 1, so we know we're finding the area of a rectangle. We know our formula is length times width. So we'll plug in our numbers, and we'll get 6.6 times 4.3, and then that will equal, we'll use a calculator to help us with our calculations, 6.6 times 4.3, and we get 28.38, and this is area, so we got to do centimeters squared. Now we'll find the area of the second side, side 2. Area of a triangle is equal to base times height. Then we divide that by 2. So we'll plug in our numbers from our triangle. I'm looking at side 2 now. So here's side 2 with a base of 3.7 and a height at 3.7. So I'm going to plug in 3.7 for both the base and the height. So we'll have 3.7 times 3.7. Then I'll divide that by 2. And when I do that, 3.7 times 3.7 divided by 2, I get 6.8 45 centimeters squared. Now what I'd like you to do is find the area for the other 3 sides. We have side 3, side 4, and side 5. So please pause right here and find the area of the other 3 sides. So now that we've found the area of all our sides, here's our 5 areas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're able to find the surface area. So let's go back to our notes page. So we'll move this assignment page to the side. And our notes, and step 4 will be to add all the areas. And once we do that, we found the surface area. So we'll take all these areas and we'll add them up. So if you need to pause right here to write, go ahead and do so. Okay, so we're going to take all 5 of these areas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to take all 5 of those areas and we're going to add them together. So we can do that over here. So add all 5 of these areas up. You can use your calculator to help you, and then we'll have found the surface area. So pause right here and do that. So now we've added up all 5 of our areas, and we have our surface area. So this is our final answer that we're looking for surface area. And its area, even though it's the area of the entire figure, but we're still going to use centimeters squared since it's area. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to color our shape. So the next step is, so we can draw a line because we're done with surface area, and now color the shapes of your prism. And then we'll draw a line, and then we'll do our volume after that. So pause right here and take the time to do some coloring. I'm going to be using green and blue for mine. Now we have our colored prism, and we're ready to move on to volume. Okay, so let's switch back to our notes. So now we're moving into volume. For volume, step 1, we will cut out the prism along the solid black lines. So we're going to take our prism, I'm going to be cutting along the solid black lines. So along the outside of the solid black lines. Do not, I repeat, do not cut across these lines right here. Only along the outside and on the solid black lines along the outside. So I'm cutting along the solid black lines along the outside like that. I'm going to do that all the way around the edge. So go ahead and pause right here and cut along the outside and the solid black lines. Now that we've cut out our prism, we should have something like this. Okay, our second step to volume will be fold along the black lines. So we're going to fold along these lines. We want to fold it so the colors are on the outside, so fold like so, and do your best to fold along those solid black lines. Like this. So I'm going to fold along all the solid black lines, folding it inward so that my colors will be on the outside when it's folded. So do that for all the sides. If you want, you can pause right here to do that. Now we're folded. So it should look something like this with all the sides being folded. Our next step will be to tape the prism closed. So it's kind of like we're taping a box closed so that it'll be closed up. So we're going to close it up and tape along all the sides. I'm going to put tape along where these two edges meet. So any place where the edges meet, we'll put some tape so that way it'll stay closed. You'll just need a small piece of tape. Like I'm only getting like a piece of tape about that big. And then I'm just going to do my very best to tape it closed. So I've put it on one side like that, and then I'll just touch it, cold the edges, and kind of fold it over, so like that. So you're just doing your very best. It's not going to be perfect, but just try your best to get it taped closed like that. And we'll do that for all the edges, one piece of tape wherever an edge meets, and then we'll have a closed prism. So a piece of tape right along this edge, along the top, and along the two sides of my triangle on my other end. So go ahead, you can pause right here and tape this box closed. Okay, so now we have our taped closed prism, like so. Kind of looks like a tent almost, like that. And now that we have it closed off, we can actually find the volume. So the first thing we want to do is take our prism. Remember, you're looking down on the prism, so I'm going to stand it up so that I have the same shape on both the top and bottom. So here's the top of the prism, and I have a triangle on top, and I have a triangle on the bottom. If I were to stand it like this, I have a rectangle on the bottom, but on the top I have this sharp edge. So it's not the same exact shape on the top because it's an edge where two sides meet. I need to have a flat shape on the top and the bottom. So I'm going to stand it up on my triangular side so that I have a triangle on the top and a triangle on the bottom. So that's step 4. Stand the prism so the same shape is on top and bottom. Okay, now we're going to do our math. Step 5. find the area of the bottom shape. So my bottom shape is one of these triangles with a 3.7 base and a 3.7 height. So let's do our math on our other sheet of paper. So you can bring your assignment page back in. So I'm looking at my assignment page, Prism assignment, and now we're on to volume. So let's put volume. And the first thing we're going to do is area of the base. That's that bottom shape. So the area of the base, well, our base is a triangle. We're going to do base times height divided by 2. And we have 3.7 for the base times 3.7 for the height divided by 2. And when we use our calculator, we'll get that that is 6.845 centimeters squared. So we got that. We're going to use that number here in a little bit. So we'll need that number. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the height from the bottom, from the desk to the top of the prism. I'm going to measure that height. So we'll use our ruler. And you're going to have to stand the ruler up next to it and look and measure it. So you're going to be measuring along the side. And look, you already have the measurement, so you can use that measurement right there. It's 6.6 centimeters. So that is the height of our prism, is at 6.6 centimeters. So I'm measuring how tall it is when it's standing up. So the height H equals 6.6 centimeters. Now to find the volume, all we do is so volume equals area times height. So we'll use this equation, V equals area times height. So I'm just going to plug in the numbers I found. I got 6.85 from my area. And then I'll multiply that by the height, my 6.6. And once I do that multiplication, I'll get 45.177. And now that it's volume, we have to go up because we're finding a third dimension. So we'll go, instead of centimeters squared, we'll do centimeters cubed with a 3. So volume always has a 3, where area always has the 2 on our units. Volume will always have a 3 on our units. Okay, so that's how we find the volume. And the last thing I want you to do is tape your prism like so to the page so you can turn in your work with the prism that you created. So I'm just taping the prism to the page right now. Like that. And now we have our completed assignment. Our prism assignment is completed with our heading, showing all our work, finding the surface area, and then we found the volume, and then we taped our prism to it. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful and informative and helped you to find the surface area and volume of a triangular prism.